I opened the door, expecting my morning newspaper. Instead, I got two police officers and a ghost from 6 years ago. The younger one, badge-reading Detective Morrison, had that careful tone cops use when they think someone's guilty of something terrible. "Mr. Bennett, we need to talk about Tyler." Behind them stood Amy, my late nephew's widow, tears streaming down her face like she'd practiced in front of a mirror. I'd spent 40 years building software companies, learning to spot fake code. Fake tears weren't much different. "Where's my son?" she sobbed, pushing past the detectives like she was auditioning for a soap opera. "What did you do with my baby? I heard small footsteps on the stairs." Tyler, 9 years old now with his father's dark eyes, appeared in his school uniform. He froze when he saw the woman at the door. "Uncle Mark," his voice was uncertain, confused. "Who is that?" Amy's performance kicked into overdrive. "Tyler." "Oh God, Tyler. Baby, it's me. It's Mommy." I watched my nephew's son. He didn't recognize his own mother. Why would he? Tyler was 3 when Amy left. Now he was 9. And the woman at my door was a complete stranger to him. "Mr. Bennett," Detective Morrison continued, "there's been a report filed about parental interference and possible custodial kidnapping. We need to sort this out." I felt something cold and familiar settle in my chest. Not panic. I'd been preparing for this moment for 6 years. I'd known she'd come back eventually. I just hadn't expected her to bring the police. "Of course, Detective." I kept my voice level, businesslike. "Please come in. This should be very interesting." I let them into my living room, the same room where Tyler had learned to play chess, where we'd built that model rocket last summer, where he'd cried when he finally understood his mother wasn't coming back. Amy walked in like she still lived here, her eyes darting around, cataloging everything. I noticed her gaze lingering on the company logo printed on the documents scattered across my desk. TechBridge Solutions. The company my nephew David and I had built together, the one that had just gone public 3 months ago, worth $2.8 million, 50% of which belonged to Tyler. "I've been searching for him for years," Amy told Detective Morrison, her voice breaking perfectly on cue. "Mark took him from me. I just needed a few days to recover from my husband's death, and when I came back, they were gone." I almost smiled. The audacity was impressive. "If you're going to lie, lie big." "That's so strange," I said pleasantly, taking my seat in the armchair I'd sat in every night, reading bedtime stories to the boy Amy had abandoned. "Because I have documentation. Legal guardianship papers, court orders, all properly filed with the state of California." "Detective Morrison, would you like to see them?" The detective's expression shifted. He'd been expecting a kidnapper, maybe a messy custody dispute. He wasn't expecting paperwork. "Those papers are fraudulent," Amy said quickly. "He manipulated the system. He turned my son against me." "Ma'am," Detective Morrison held up a hand. "Let's take this slowly. Mr. Bennett, do you have these documents available?" "In my office. Would you like me to get them, or would you prefer to accompany me?" Morrison nodded to his partner, who followed me. Amy stayed in the living room with Tyler. I heard her trying to approach him. "Please stay back." Tyler's voice was shaky but firm. "I don't know you. That's my boy," I thought. 6 years I'd raised him. 6 years of Little League games and science fairs, and teaching him that he didn't have to accept anyone's claims on him just because they showed up demanding it. In my office, I pulled out the file I'd kept meticulously organized. Every document, every court filing, every piece of evidence of Amy's abandonment. Everything dated, notarized, cross-referenced. The officer flipped through it with growing understanding. "This is extremely thorough," he said. "I'm a software engineer," I replied. "Documentation is what I do." Back in the living room, Amy was in full victim mode. He poisoned Tyler against me. "Look at him. He doesn't even recognize his own mother." "That's because you left when I was 3, Tyler said quietly. His hands were shaking, but he wasn't backing down. "Uncle Mark showed me pictures and videos of you and Dad so I wouldn't forget. But you never called. Not once. Not even on my birthday." Detective Morrison was reading through my documents now, his expression hardening. Amy noticed. "This is all fabricated," she tried again. "I was traumatized from David's death. I wasn't in my right mind. Mrs. Hartwell. Detective Morrison looked up. These are certified court documents from 2019. That's 6 years ago. Medina, I corrected softly. She's Mrs. Medina now, remarried. Started a whole new life in Miami with Marcus Medina, real estate developer. Quite successful, from what I understand. I smiled, and I knew it didn't reach my eyes. How touching that she remembered she had a son after all this time. What brought you back, Amy? Sudden maternal instinct? Or did you happen to read about TechBridge Solutions going public last quarter? Her face flushed. I saw something flicker in her eyes. She knew I knew. She just didn't know how much yet. This isn't over, she said, her voice dropping the sob story, going hard and calculated. I'm his mother. I have rights. No, I said pleasantly. You really don't. Detective Morrison handed me back my documents. Mr. Bennett, we'll need you to come to the station. File a full report. Ma'am, you too. He looked at Amy with considerably less sympathy than he'd arrived with. If you want to pursue this, it'll go through family court. Amy's jaw clenched. Fine. I'll see you in court, Mark. And I'll see you too, baby. She reached toward Tyler, who stepped behind me. After they left, Tyler looked up at me with David's eyes. Uncle Mark, is she going to take me away? I put my hand on his shoulder, feeling the weight of every promise I'd made to this child over 6 years. Not a chance, buddy. Not a chance. But in my mind, I was already 10 steps ahead. Amy hadn't come back out of love. People like her operated on greed, which meant she'd found out about the money. And if she thought she could waltz back into Tyler's life after 6 years of silence and claim what David had left behind, she was about to learn a very expensive lesson. I'd been preparing for this day since 2019. Since the day I'd sat in a lawyer's office and made sure every possible angle was covered, every escape route blocked. Amy wanted a court battle. She was going to get one. The memories hit hardest at night. After Tyler had gone to bed, after I'd checked his room twice to make sure he was sleeping peacefully. That's when my mind went back to January 2018, when my world had shattered. David, my brother's only son, the boy I'd helped raise after my brother died, was killed in a car accident, 32 years old. We'd been partners in TechBridge for 5 years, building something remarkable together. Then he was gone. Amy had seemed devastated at the funeral. I'd tried to help her, offered to cover childcare, suggested grief counseling, but I'd missed the signs. The way she looked at 3-year-old Tyler sometimes, like he was an anchor she wanted to cut loose. The way she talked about her life before, meaning before David died, before Tyler complicated things. Then came that knock on my door in February 2018. 1 month after David's funeral, Amy stood on my porch with Tyler bundled in his little jacket, his hand gripping his mother's fingers. Mark, I'm so sorry to ask this. Her eyes were red. I thought it was from crying. Now I knew better. I need to go to Miami for a few days. There's a job opportunity, a fresh start. But I can't take Tyler. It's just for a week, maybe 2. Can you watch him? Tyler had looked up at me with David's eyes, and I'd melted. Of course, Tyler and I will be fine. We'll have fun, won't we, buddy? He'd nodded, already reaching for me. Even at 3, he loved Uncle Mark's house. I had video games and pizza and endless patience for his questions. Amy had hugged him quickly. Too quickly, I realized later. I'll call every day, baby. I'll be back before you know it. Be good for Uncle Mark. That was the last thing she said to her son for 6 years. 1 week became 2. 2 became a month. I tried calling, texting, emailing. Nothing. I contacted her parents, estranged from her since college. They hadn't heard from her. Her few friends had no idea where she was. By March, Tyler was asking when Mommy was coming home, and I was running out of gentle lies. Soon, buddy. Mommy's job is taking longer than she thought. By April, Tyler had stopped asking. By May, I'd hired a private investigator. The report came back in June. Amy Harrison had moved to Miami with Marcus Medina, a real estate developer 20 years her senior. New apartment, new life. The investigator included photos. Amy and Marcus at upscale restaurants. Amy at parties, champagne in hand. Amy posting on social media about new beginnings and fresh starts. Not one mention of a son. Not one. I'd sat in my office, holding that report, feeling something break and reform inside me. David had been dead 4 months, and his widow had abandoned their son without a backward glance. The way she looked at Marcus in those photos, it wasn't new love. It was calculation. Marcus was wealthy, established, childless. Tyler was an inconvenience. The hardest part was explaining it to Tyler. He was 3, too young to understand abandonment. "Mommy's not coming back, buddy." I'd finally told him that June, holding him while he cried. "But I'm here. I'll always be here. I promise. Forever, Uncle Mark, forever." And I'd meant it. I remembered his first day of preschool without his mother. His 4th birthday when Amy didn't call. Teaching him to ride a bike. Reading him bedtime stories. Every moment Amy had traded for dinner parties and a wealthy husband. But somewhere in those early months, I'd made a decision. If Amy was gone, truly gone, then I needed to make it legal. Protect Tyler. Protect what David had left for his son. Our company was doing well, growing. David's 50% stake belonged to Tyler now. I needed to make sure no one could take that from him. I called a lawyer. Victoria Chen had been practical, efficient, thorough. "You need full legal guardianship," she'd told me in July 2018, "but we need to cover all bases. If the mother ever comes back, she could challenge it. What if she voluntarily gives up her rights?" Victoria had raised an eyebrow. "If she'd actually do that, you'd have an ironclad case." "She already has," I'd said. "She just hasn't made it official yet." We drafted a letter, professional, non-accusatory, 2 clear options. Return to San Diego and resume parental responsibilities with support provided, or voluntarily terminate parental rights and allow Tyler stability with a permanent guardian. And here's the key, I'd told Victoria. Make it clear that if she terminates rights, she won't be responsible for any child support, past or future. No financial obligations. You're making it very easy for her to walk away. I'm making it easy for her to do what she's already done. The difference is this time it'll be in writing, on video, impossible to dispute later. The letter went out in August. Amy's response came in September. Not a phone call, not a visit, but a call to Victoria's office, asking about the paperwork, and one question. If I sign, I don't owe anything? No child support, no back payments, nothing? Nothing, Victoria had confirmed. You'd be completely free of any legal obligation. I'll do it, Amy had said. When can I sign? Victoria scheduled it for October 2018. A notary, a psychologist to verify Amy, understood her decision, and a video recording. I'd insisted on the video. Someday, I'd said, she's going to claim she was coerced or didn't understand. I want her own words, on camera, explaining exactly why she's doing this. Victoria called me that evening. She signed everything. Dr. Patricia Reynolds, the psychologist, certified that Amy was of sound mind, understood the consequences completely, and was acting voluntarily. What did she say? Did she ask about Tyler? She asked if the video would be made public. When I said it was sealed unless needed for legal proceedings, she seemed relieved. She was more worried about her reputation than her son. And, Mark, you need to hear this. Dr. Reynolds recorded her reasoning. Amy stated, on camera, quote, I'm not ready to be a mother. I never was. David wanted Tyler more than I did. Mark can give him a better life. I love my freedom more than I love being a parent. Marcus doesn't want children, and I'm choosing him. I closed my eyes. Even expecting it, hearing it confirmed made something twist in my chest. Did she leave any message for Tyler? Anything at all? No. She asked how soon the papers would be filed. She had dinner plans in Miami. I'd locked those documents in my safe that night. The termination papers, the video recording, everything. And I'd thought, someday, Amy, you're going to remember Tyler exists. Someday you're going to want something. And when that day comes, I'll have your own words, your own voice, destroying every lie you tell. The years between 2018 and 2024 passed in a rhythm of school pickups and soccer practices, scraped knees and science projects. Tyler grew from a confused 3-year-old into a bright, confident 9-year-old. He called me Uncle Mark, never Dad. I never pushed it. But he was mine in every way that mattered. Life was good. TechBridge Solutions was thriving. We'd developed security software that caught the attention of major corporations. By 2023, we were fielding acquisition offers. By early 2024, we decided to go public instead. But going public meant public records, financial disclosures. Anyone searching could see that Tyler Harrison Bennett owned 50% of a company worth millions. I need an early warning system, I'd told Victoria in late 2023. If anyone makes inquiries about Tyler's assets or David's estate, I need to know immediately. She'd set it up through her firm. Any searches, any legal requests that came through official channels, I'd get notification. It seemed paranoid, maybe. But software engineers aren't paranoid. We're prepared. We anticipate bugs before they crash the system. December 2024 brought the call. I'd been half expecting for 6 years. Victoria's voice was tight. Mark, we got a flag. Someone made inquiries about David Harrison's estate and Tyler's assets last week. My hand tightened on the phone. Who? Request came through a law office in Miami. Sterling and Associates. They were asking about probate records, estate value, corporate ownership, Miami. Amy. Did they get the information? Public records only. They'd know David had assets, that there was a trust for his minor son, but not specific amounts without a court order. I sat down heavily. She found out about the IPO. Looks like it. Mark, you should prepare yourself. When she comes back, I corrected. It's not if anymore. I spent the next month getting ready, met with Victoria to review all documentation, made sure the video recording was properly stored, multiple backups, had the seals verified. I wanted no question about authenticity when the time came. I updated my file on Amy. The private investigator did a current check. She and Marcus were still in Miami. His real estate business had hit some rough patches. They downsized from a penthouse to a regular condo. Money problems. Marcus had some gambling debts. They were leveraged heavily, living on credit. And here sat Tyler's trust fund, his 50% of TechBridge, worth over $1 million now. The bitter irony wasn't lost on me. I rehearsed conversations with Tyler. Remember, if your mother ever contacts you, I need to know immediately. Why would she? Tyler asked. He was 9 now, old enough for some truth. Because people sometimes want things they gave up. She left you, Tyler. That was her choice. If she comes back, it won't be because she suddenly cares. It'll be because she wants something. Tyler had nodded slowly. He was smart. He'd figured out years ago that his mother had chosen to leave. That morning in January 2025, when I opened the door to police and Amy, I was ready. Angry, yes, but ready. 6 years of preparation, and it was finally paying off. 3 days after Amy showed up at my door with police, Detective Morrison called me down to the station. I arrived with my briefcase, the same one I'd carried through 40 years of software development, filled with 6 years of documentation. Amy was already there. She'd upgraded since the doorstep drama. New outfit, professional looking. And beside her sat Marcus, her husband. Mid-50s, expensive suit trying to look more expensive. That smile that made you want to check your wallet. Mr. Bennett, Detective Morrison gestured me into an interview room. Amy and Marcus followed. Mrs. Medina has made serious allegations. We need to hear your side. I set my briefcase on the table and opened it methodically. Happy to clarify. Where would you like to start? Amy couldn't contain herself. He stole my son. I went to Miami for a job interview, just for a few days. And when I tried to come back, he'd hidden Tyler from me. A few days? I pulled out the first document. Detective, these are phone records from February through June 2018. 0 incoming calls from Amy's number to mine. I called her 43 times. She never answered, never returned 1 call. I slid the paper across to Morrison. He studied it carefully. I was traumatized, Amy said quickly. My husband had just died. I wasn't thinking clearly. David died in January 2018, I said. You left Tyler with me in February, 1 month later. By June, you were posting vacation photos on social media from the Bahamas with Mr. Medina here. Marcus leaned forward. Maybe she needed to heal. Is that a crime? Healing isn't a crime, I said. Abandoning your 3-year-old son is a different matter. I didn't abandon him. Amy's voice rose. You manipulated the situation. You poisoned Tyler against me. Detective, I pulled out another document. This is the court order granting me legal guardianship of Tyler, dated October 2018. Approved by Judge Sarah Blackwell in San Diego County Family Court. All proper channels, all legal procedures followed. Morrison took the document, reading carefully. Mr. Bennett, how did you obtain guardianship? My nephew's widow disappeared with no contact. After 4 months, I filed for emergency custody to ensure Tyler had legal protection for school, medical care, all necessities. The court granted it. Because you lied to them, Amy stood up. You told them lies about me. I told them facts, I said calmly. That you'd left your son with me claiming it was for a week and never returned. That your phone was disconnected. That I'd hired a private investigator who found you in Miami with Mr. Medina here, starting a new life without your son. Marcus's jaw tightened. Amy grabbed his arm. You had no right, she hissed. He's my son. Then where were you? The question came out harder than I'd intended. Where were you for his 4th birthday? His first day of preschool? When he had nightmares asking why Mommy didn't want him anymore. The room went silent. I pulled out another document. Detective, what's really happening here became clear when I got this notification from my attorney last month. Someone, using a Miami law firm, made inquiries about David Harrison's estate and corporate assets. Amy's face lost some color. Marcus's hand twitched on the table. Tell me, Amy. I kept my voice conversational. When exactly did you learn that TechBridge Solutions went public? That Tyler owns 50% of a company worth $2.8 million? I don't know what, Amy started. The trust fund from David's life insurance was one thing, I continued. But the company shares, those are Tyler's. He gets them when he's 25. And as his legal guardian, I manage them until then. Marcus's eyes widened slightly. Amy grabbed his hand. That's my son's money, she said. Yes, I agreed. Tyler's money, not yours. And he gets it when he's 25, managed by his legal guardian, which is me. Detective Morrison was watching Amy now with a different expression. Mrs. Medina, this is quite a coincidence. 6 years of no contact, and you returned 2 weeks after inquiries were made about your son's assets. That's not... I didn't. Amy was struggling. I've been searching for him all this time. Really? I opened another folder. These are Tyler's school records. Same school for 6 years. Same address on file. My address in San Diego. The same city where you lived when you left. A simple Google search of my name would have found us. She knew exactly where we were. She just didn't want to know until there was money involved. This isn't fair. Amy was crying now. I'm his mother. You were his mother, I said quietly. Past tense. Morrison looked at me sharply. Explain. I have additional documentation beyond the guardianship order, I said, but I'd prefer to present it in formal court proceedings where it can be properly examined and where Tyler's interests are fully protected. I smiled at Amy. I think we all deserve our day in court. Don't you? She stared at me, and I saw real fear flicker in her eyes. She was beginning to understand she'd walked into something she couldn't control. Marcus stood up suddenly. Come on, Amy. We don't need to listen to this. Actually, Morrison said, I need to complete this interview. But Mr. Bennett is right. This needs to go before a family court judge. I'll file my report. As Amy and Marcus left, she turned back. You're going to regret this, Mark. You don't know what you're dealing with. Don't I? I asked. When did you last act like Tyler's mother, Amy? 6 years ago? Or never? The door closed behind them. Morrison looked at me. For what's worth, that boy at your house looked happy, healthy, well-adjusted. That woman looked like someone who just realized her lottery ticket might be fake. Interesting comparison, I said, closing my briefcase. Very interesting indeed. February brought cold rain to San Diego and Amy to family court. She'd gotten a better lawyer this time, probably maxed out credit cards. Richard Keller, aggressive, hungry, the kind who saw this as a big payday. I sat with Victoria Chen at the defendant's table. Tyler sat beside me, gripping my hand tight enough that I could feel his pulse. You okay, buddy? Is she going to take me away? Not a chance. Keller stood to make his opening statement. He paced like he was in a television drama. Your Honor, this is a heartbreaking case of parental alienation. My client, Amy Medina, temporarily left her son with his uncle while dealing with overwhelming grief from losing her husband. When she returned, she found Mr. Bennett had manipulated the legal system to steal custody. Judge Patricia Hamilton, early 60s with sharp eyes that missed nothing, listened without expression. Keller continued. Mrs. Medina was not in a mental state to fight a custody battle in 2018. She was grieving, alone, struggling. Mr. Bennett took advantage of that vulnerability to permanently separate a mother from her child. It was a good story. Practiced, polished. She has spent years trying to rebuild her life so she could provide properly for Tyler, Keller said. And now, finally, she's ready to be the mother he deserves. He sat down. Amy dabbed her eyes. Marcus, in the gallery, tried to look supportive. Judge Hamilton turned to Victoria. Miss Chen. Victoria stood. She didn't pace, didn't perform. Your Honor, Mr. Bennett obtained legal guardianship through proper channels in 2018. He has raised Tyler for 6 years. Tyler is an honor student, excels at soccer, has been in therapy to process abandonment trauma. He's thriving. She was stolen, Amy burst out. Keller grabbed her arm, but she shook him off. He turned Tyler against me. Mrs. Medina, Judge Hamilton's voice went cold. You'll have a chance to testify. Right now, I want to hear counsel, Victoria continued smoothly. The guardianship was granted because Mrs. Medina abandoned her 3-year-old son without contact for months. She has not attempted contact in 6 years. No calls, no letters, no birthday cards, nothing. Because he hid them from me, Amy said. Mrs. Medina, Judge Hamilton warned. One more outburst, and you'll wait outside. Testimony began. Keller called Amy first. She told her story well, I had to admit. The grief, the confusion, needing time that became permanent when I allegedly manipulated the court. And when did you discover where Tyler was? Keller asked carefully. Recently, Amy said. I'd been searching, but Mark had hidden us so well. Hidden us at the same address in San Diego where she'd left Tyler, I thought. Victoria made a note. Your Honor, Keller moved to his closing theme. Every child deserves their mother. Mrs. Medina made mistakes, but she's ready now. We ask that custody be returned to her. Tyler's hand tightened on mine. I squeezed back. Your Honor, Victoria stood. Mr. Bennett would like to submit additional evidence. Keller was on his feet. Objection. We weren't notified of additional documents. They're part of the original guardianship proceedings, Victoria said smoothly. Sealed by court order in 2018. Mr. Bennett is requesting they be unsealed and entered into evidence. Judge Hamilton frowned. Approach. At the bench, the judge examined the sealed envelope Victoria had brought. This was sealed by Judge Blackwell 6 years ago. Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Bennett requested certain sensitive documents be sealed to protect all parties. Given Mrs. Medina's claims now, they're relevant. Judge Hamilton broke the seal. Her eyebrows rose as she read. By the second page, her expression had hardened. By the third page, she was shaking her head slightly. Mrs. Medina, she said, her voice carrying across the courtroom. Do you know what's in these documents? Amy looked confused, scared. No, Your Honor. The judge looked at me. Does she know about the video? Not yet, Your Honor. Judge Hamilton sat back. This needs to be reviewed in full. Mr. Keller, you'll want to see this. The judge's tone made it clear this wasn't good news for Amy. Back at our table, I felt Tyler looking up at me. It's okay, I whispered. Trust me. Judge Hamilton's voice was ice as she spoke. Voluntary termination of parental rights. Amy Marie Harrison, dated October 15th, 2018. The courtroom went absolutely silent. Amy's face went white. Not pale, white. Marcus stood up in the gallery. That's impossible. Sit down, sir, Judge Hamilton ordered. Then she continued reading. I, Amy Marie Harrison, do voluntarily and permanently terminate all parental rights to Tyler David Bennett. This is signed in the presence of a notary public and Dr. Patricia Reynolds, licensed psychologist, who certifies I am of sound mind and understand this is permanent and irrevocable. Amy made a sound, half gasp, half sob. Keller was frantically whispering to her. She just stared at the judge like she was watching her world end. And here, Judge Hamilton turned a page. We have Mrs. Harrison's personal statement explaining her decision. Would you like me to read it aloud? No, Amy whispered. Please no. I think we need to hear it, the judge said. I, Amy Harrison, acknowledge I left my 3-year-old son Tyler with his uncle Mark Bennett in February 2018, claiming I needed a week for a job interview. This was false. I had met Marcus Medina and wanted to start a new life with him in Miami. I did not intend to return for Tyler. I am voluntarily terminating my parental rights because I am not ready to be a mother and do not want the responsibility. The silence was absolute. Amy's face had gone from white to red. Tears streamed down her cheeks, but these weren't the practiced tears from before. These were shame and rage and humiliation. Marcus had his head in his hands. Furthermore, Judge Hamilton wasn't finished. We have a video recording. Dr. Reynolds conducted an evaluation where Mrs. Harrison explained her reasoning on camera. Miss Chen is Dr. Reynolds available? She's in the hallway, Your Honor, Victoria said. We anticipated she might be needed. Of course we did. 6 years of preparation meant anticipating everything. Dr. Reynolds came in, gray-haired, professional, carrying a folder. Dr. Reynolds, Judge Hamilton said, do you recognize these documents? She studied them, nodded. Yes, Your Honor. I was present when Mrs. Harrison signed this termination in October 2018. Can you describe her mental state? She was completely lucid, calm, certain. I asked her multiple times if she understood this was permanent, that she would have no legal rights to Tyler ever again. She said yes each time. She even said, and I quote, "This is the best decision. I'll finally be free." Amy made a sound. Marcus looked like he wanted to disappear. Did she appear coerced? Not at all. Mr. Bennett wasn't even in the building. It was just Mrs. Harrison, myself, the notary, and her attorney, Miss Chen. And the video recording? Judge Hamilton asked. I have it here. Dr. Reynolds held up a flash drive. With the court's permission? Show it, the judge said. The bailiff set up a screen. The video played. Amy, 6 years younger, sitting in Dr. Reynolds' office. Looking calm, almost relieved. Dr. Reynolds' voice from off-camera. Amy, I need you to explain in your own words why you're terminating your parental rights to Tyler. Video. Amy looked directly at the camera. I'm not ready to be a mother. I never was. David wanted Tyler more than I did. When David died, I saw it as a chance to start over. Mark loves Tyler. He can give him a better life than I ever could. Marcus doesn't want children, and honestly, neither do I anymore. I love my freedom more than I love being a parent. This way, I don't have to pretend anymore, the video continued. And you understand this is permanent? Dr. Reynolds asked. You'll never have legal rights to Tyler again. Yes, video, Amy said. I understand. I'm choosing this. I'm choosing Marcus and the life we can have together without a child complicating things. The video ended. The courtroom was silent, except for Amy's quiet sobbing. Marcus wasn't comforting her. He looked furious. Your Honor, Keller tried weakly, my client was clearly in a state of, I was in my right mind, Amy said suddenly. Her voice was broken. I signed it. I said those things. I meant them then. Keller looked like a man whose parachute hadn't opened. But I've changed, Amy continued. I want my son back. You wanted his money back, I said quietly. Everyone turned to look at me. Judge Hamilton nodded slightly. Mr. Bennett, you have something to add? Your Honor, I stood. Last week, Tyler came home from school upset. He told me a woman and a man approached him outside the school gates. The man asked him, and I quote, "How much money did your father leave you? Does your uncle let you spend any of it?" The courtroom erupted. Marcus shot to his feet. "That's a lie, Tyler." Judge Hamilton looked at my nephew's son. "Is this true?" Tyler stood up, shaking but determined. "Yes, ma'am." The man asked about money. "The woman," she pointed at Amy, "told me I'd understand when I'm older. That family is important. But Uncle Mark says family is people who stay, not people who show up when there's money." Judge Hamilton looked at Marcus with something approaching disgust. "Mr. Medina, you approached a 9-year-old child and interrogated him about his inheritance?" We were," Marcus stammered. "Judge," Amy grabbed Keller's arm. "I didn't know he was going to do that." "But you didn't stop it," I said. "You stood there while your husband asked my nephew's son about his money." Keller had no response. Marcus looked ready to bolt from the courtroom. "I'm also entering." Victoria stood. Comprehensive documentation of Mrs. Medina's activities from 2018 through 2024. Social media posts showing luxury vacations, parties, no mention of her son. Financial records showing she and Mr. Medina have significant debt and recently contacted lawyers about Tyler's assets. "This isn't about custody. This is about money. Your Honor," Keller made one last attempt. "My client deserves." "Stop." Judge Hamilton held up her hand. "I've heard enough. This court will reconvene tomorrow morning for final judgment. But Mr. Keller, if you have your client's best interests at heart, you'll explain to her that some battles can't be won." She stood. We all stood. As people filed out, I stayed seated, watching Amy and Marcus in heated whispered argument. Finally, Victoria leaned over. "That went better than expected. Tomorrow's the final round," I said. "But yes, better than expected." Tyler tugged my sleeve. "Uncle Mark, can we go home?" "Yes, buddy. Let's go home." As we passed Amy and Marcus, I heard him hiss. "You said this would be easy money. You said the old man wouldn't have proof." 6 years of proof, I thought. 6 years of preparation. And tomorrow, it would all pay off. The next morning, March 3rd, the courtroom was even more crowded. Word had spread. The abandoned son, the returned mother, the video confession. Judge Hamilton entered, and we all stood. When she sat, there was no preamble, no small talk. "I've reviewed all evidence, testimony, and documentation. I'm ready to deliver my judgment." Amy's hands were clenched, white-knuckled tight. Amy Medina, formerly Amy Harrison, voluntarily and legally terminated her parental rights to Tyler David Bennett in October 2018. This termination was witnessed, notarized, recorded on video, and certified by a licensed psychologist. California law is clear. Such terminations are permanent and irrevocable, absent extreme circumstances like fraud or coercion. No such circumstances exist here. Amy started to speak, but Keller grabbed her arm. "Mrs. Medina's claim of grief-induced confusion is contradicted by the video evidence." She clearly, calmly, and voluntarily explained her reasoning. She chose her new relationship over her son. Furthermore, Mrs. Medina made no attempt to contact Tyler for 6 years. She only returned when she learned of significant assets. This timing is not coincidental. Marcus was staring at the floor. Mark Bennett has raised Tyler for 6 years. He obtained guardianship properly. Tyler is thriving. He has explicitly stated his wish to remain with his uncle, whom he considers his true family. Judge Hamilton looked directly at Amy. "Mrs. Medina, you made your choice in 2018. You chose freedom over responsibility. You chose Marcus over Tyler. You signed legal documents making that permanent. You do not get to reverse that decision 6 years later because it became financially beneficial. Therefore," Judge Hamilton continued, "Mark Bennett's guardianship is confirmed and will remain in effect until Tyler reaches 18. Amy Medina's parental rights remain terminated. She is prohibited from any contact with Tyler without Tyler's written consent after he turns 18. Additionally, given the frivolous and bad faith nature of this claim, I am ordering Amy Medina and Marcus Medina jointly and severally, to pay Mr. Bennett's legal fees. $15,000. Payment due within 90 days. Marcus's head snapped up. We don't have... Then find it, Judge Hamilton said coldly. You filed false reports, wasted court resources, and attempted to manipulate a child for financial gain. There are consequences. Amy stood up suddenly. This isn't fair. He's my son. You signed him away, Judge Hamilton said. Court adjourned. The gavel came down with finality. Amy let out a sound between a sob and a scream. This is your fault, she turned on Marcus. You said we'd get the money. Me? You abandoned your kid. They were still fighting as they left. Keller followed, looking like a man who knew his invoice would never be paid. Detective Morrison, who'd been in the back, approached. Mr. Bennett, I apologize for showing up at your door with those accusations. You were doing your job. I shook his hand. For what it's worth, Morrison said. That boy is lucky to have you. I'm the lucky one, I said. We walked out into bright California sunshine. Tyler held my hand. Is it really over? It's really over. She can't come back. She can't come back, I confirmed. Tyler was quiet. Then, Uncle Mark? Yeah, buddy. Thank you. For what? For not leaving me. For keeping me when she didn't want to. I squeezed his hand. I'll always keep you, Tyler. Always. That evening, we ordered pizza and played video games. Just a normal Tuesday. Because that's what I'd given him. 6 years of normal Tuesdays. 6 years of someone who stayed. Amy had chosen Marcus and freedom and a life without complications. I'd chosen Tyler and responsibility and 6 years of school pickups and soccer games and being there. She'd signed away her son for a fresh start. I'd turned that son into someone remarkable. She'd abandoned him. I'd loved him. And when her greed finally brought her back, every door was locked. Every lie was documented. Every escape route was blocked. People like Amy thought they could have it both ways. Abandon responsibility when inconvenient, claim rights when profitable. I'd proven them wrong. My revenge wasn't the courtroom victory, though that was satisfying. My revenge wasn't the legal fees, though they'd struggle to pay those. My revenge was Tyler, happy, healthy, calling me family. 6 years of memories Amy would never have. She'd traded her son for a man who blamed her when the money didn't materialize. I'd raised that son to be kind, smart, confident. That was justice.